Roller coasters, the pinnacle for theme park thrill seekers, specifically designed to terrify their riders. Millions of people flock to theme parks every year in pursuit of adventure. These exhilarating rides are ultra safe, and accidents are thankfully very rare, but they do sometimes happen. This video unveils the story of the world's deadliest roller coaster accident, the Big Dipper disaster at Battersea Park Funfair. The Battersea Park Funfair was located in London, England, on the south bank of the River Thames in Battersea Park. It was opened in May 1951 as part of the Festival of Britain, being the lighter, more frivolous side of the festival. The Festival of Britain was a nationwide event designed to lift the spirits of the country after the end of the Second World War. It could be argued that the Funfair was Britain's first theme park, based upon two themes, an imaginary Old England and also a futuristic theme. It predated Disneyland by 4 years. The attraction included an amusement park, gardens with 2 theatres and a tented pavilion, a treetop walk, a children's zoo and a Mississippi showboat. It was designed for just 1 year's operation, but outlasted all the other Festival of Britain attractions, surviving for more than 2 decades. One of the flagship rides at the Funfair was the Big Dipper, a notable presence on the park's skyline. The attraction was a wooden roller coaster, with 3 cars riding the track, and a brakeman riding in one of the middle carriages who would slow down the coaster around bends and the end of the ride. The Big Dipper already had a checkered history. In 1951, shortly after opening, an empty car had derailed, but nobody was hurt. In 1968, a similar incident to the ultimate fatal accident appears to have occurred when a woman broke an arm. And in May 1970, £400,000 of damage was inflicted on the ride following a suspected arson attack. On Tuesday 30th of May 1972, schools in England had just broken up for the spring half-term, and crowds had flocked to the Funfair. 31 people boarded the 3-car wooden train, and the ride commenced with the train being pulled up the lift hill by a rope. As the coaster reached the top of the first incline, some 15 metres above the park, the rope hauling the cars up the lift hill suddenly failed. The whole train started going backwards down the hill, almost in slow motion at first, but increasing in momentum as the carriages plummeted down the 1 in 3 gradient. The brakeman desperately tried to slow down the coaster, to no avail. Some of the riders thought that he was just playing a prank on them, but they were sorely mistaken. The ride occupants were left to the mercy of gravity. At the bottom of the hill, the train disappeared behind the hoardings shielding the track, hit a tight turn and derailed. The lower carriage was crumpled by those behind, and one carriage went through the side hoarding. The screams of the ride occupants echoed across the park. One young girl disentangled herself from the wreckage by accessing a wooden walkway alongside the track, but after hearing the cries of her friend still stuck in the car, she attempted to return to the train to help her. At that point, the rotting wooden structure gave way beneath her and she plummeted to her death. Despite the best efforts of rescuers and the emergency services, 5 children died in the accident, at the time making it the world's deadliest roller coaster accident due to mechanical failure, and remains so to this day. 2 teenage boys and an 8-year-old girl died at the scene, and 2 other girls died later in hospital. 13 others were injured. Incredibly, the rest of the amusement park remained open despite the tragedy unfolding. Not surprisingly, a full investigation commenced to establish the cause of the accident. The investigation identified a catalogue of deficiencies in the ride, 66 in total. The coaster was, quite literally, a death trap. A number of failures directly contributed to the accident. Firstly, the rope that was used to lift the cars up the hill was in poor condition and not properly maintained. It also didn't properly engage with the grips on the cars as they were pulled up the hill. Secondly, there were defects in the braking system that should have prevented the cars from rolling backwards. Some roller coasters have a series of arresters or dog brakes that protrude below the cars and engage with the track, making the characteristic clack 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 sound as it ascends the lift hill that coaster fans know so well. The dogs prevent the train slipping backwards in the event of a failure of the lifting mechanism. On the Big Dipper there should have been 8 of these dogs in place, more than enough to prevent rollback of the train. But 4 of the dogs were missing, and 3 of the others did not work properly. Only 1 dog dug into the track, which promptly broke. There was nothing to prevent the cars from hurtling backwards to their fateful destination. The structure was also found to be rotting in places, including handrails and walkways, including the walkway which the girl fell through to her death. Not surprising, given that the structure, which was originally intended to only be used for 1 year, was now more than 20 years old. Finally, there was a misalignment of the track, which allowed the cars to come off the track too easily, sending them hurtling through the hoardings. Following the investigation, 3 men were put on trial at the Old Bailey on charges of manslaughter. These were John Collins, the fairground owner, James Hogan, the ride manager, and Frank Etches, a structural engineer who had certified the ride as structurally sound. Frank Etches was found not guilty because the extent of his work was to certify the static strength of the ride and did not extend to the mechanisms of the ride. John Collins and James Hogan were also found not guilty because it was considered that they did not have the technical competence to determine whether the ride was in a safe condition. At the time of the accident, the health and safety regime in Great Britain was not as good as it could have been. The Health and Safety at Work Act did not come into place until 2 years after the accident, which led to significant improvements in safety in the country. Inspections of fairground rides were also not particularly stringent, but following the accident, arrangements for inspection of rides improved considerably. These days, the chances of a fatality on a roller coaster are incredibly low, estimated as 1 in 170 million. By contrast, the odds of dying in a car accident each year are estimated to be around 1 in 7,000. This illustrates just how safe modern roller coasters have become. Following the accident, the Big Dipper coaster was dismantled, and a replacement steel roller coaster, the Cyclone, erected in its place. But unsurprisingly, the popularity of the funfair declined after the accident, and on September the 22nd, 1974, the funfair was closed for good. These days there is little to indicate that a funfair ever existed in the park, just that one tree and plaque commemorating the young victims, the only reminder of the world's deadliest roller coaster accident. If you have found this video interesting, don't forget to like and subscribe and leave a comment on what you think about this accident, and in particular what you thought about the acquittal of the 3 men accused of manslaughter. Thank you for watching.